looks embarrassed, and he has this sort of embarrassed grin on his face.
Right, right.
And, that's the way it was. Prescott Bush was calling the shots. And so they basically propelled Richard Nixon into politics, got him into the U.S. Senate. And then when a group of these people basically handpicked Dwight Eisenhower and persuaded him to run, they convinced him, against his own best instincts, to make Richard Nixon his vice president. He didn't want Nixon. So they were propelling Richard Nixon up. And, of course, by the time Richard Nixon becomes president in 1968, they expected favors from him. Do you know who they wanted Richard Nixon to pick as his vice president in 1968?
Not Bush.
Bush 41, Poppy.
No
2 years in
kidding.
the House of Representatives, they already wanted him to be vice president.
Wow.
There was a letter-writing campaign.
I have to stop saying wow. I keep saying that.
Which I
Sorry.
describe in Family of Secrets as letter-writing campaign. You see the names, the heads of some of the biggest corporations in America are pushing Richard Nixon to take this unknown fellow and make him the vice president. And Nixon won't do it. And I think I know why.
Why?
Well, I think Nixon was aware that bad things sometimes happen to presidents, and if people like the vice president, more bad things can happen. We can talk about that a little bit later, but in any case, what happens here is Nixon refuses to do it, and again, there's a letter from Prescott Bush angrily saying that he feels Nixon has made a big mistake not putting his boy in as vice president.
Well, and he didn't keep the same vice president.
Well, that's right. That's right. But in any case, Nixon then chooses Spiro Agnew. And I don't know if you know this, Nixon joked, although I don't think he was joking. He said that he put Agnew in because he was his assassination insurance.
No kidding. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, because nobody wanted Agnew, of course, and so they hoped good health to Richard Nixon. So anyway, what happens is Richard Nixon becomes president, and the first thing he starts doing is he starts making trouble for all of his old sponsors. This story, again, is not out there. This is all new. That's the thing about Family of Secrets. It's not just about the Bushes. It's all new stuff about Nixon and Jimmy Carter and all of these presidents. But as far as he goes, he very clearly decided, I'm president now. I'm gonna cast off these people. And you remember that we used to grouse about the Eastern establishment?
Well, yeah, of course.
And people called it the liberal establishment. He wasn't talking about liberals. He was talking about the bankers and all these people who owned him. And he thought, I'm president now, and now's my chance to get my legacy. So he brings in Henry Kissinger, and he and Kissinger begin this effort to create their legacy. And what they're going to do in their minds is they're going to end the war in Vietnam. I know this is hard to believe because we think of him in all of his bombing. Believe it or not, that was part of this two-pronged approach. He basically just wanted to get out of Vietnam. He was going to try to bomb him, and he was going to negotiate at the same time. They wanted to get out of Vietnam. He wanted to end the Cold War. He had secret negotiations going on with the Russians and with the Chinese. The same thing, by the way, and this is quite chilling, that John F. Kennedy was doing. He had secret negotiations with Khrushchev and with Castro, we are now finding, that were angering the CIA and the Pentagon. And so Richard Nixon was basically doing the exact same thing as his opposite that he had lost to in 1960. And he starts upsetting these people. And we find out, and described again in Family of Secrets, there was a spy ring in the White House run by the Pentagon. They were spying on Richard Nixon. They were stealing documents, and they were going back to the Joint Chiefs to see what Nixon and Kissinger were up to, because they were afraid that they were doing something that they thought was dangerous.
That they didn't approve of.
They didn't approve of it.
And so, all right, I have to keep watching my clock here. Let me take a break. Let's get some more phone calls, and let's continue from there because we've not yet gotten to Watergate. 808-0810 is the telephone number, 8080-810. I'm Pat Thurston. Russ Baker, my guest. The book is Family of Secrets. You're listening to KGO News Talk 810. Good morning, I'm Pat Thurston. Russ Baker, my guest. The book is Family of Secrets. And before we continue, we are going to get to some of your telephone calls. 808810, the number. Let's go to Marilyn. Marilyn's calling from Berkeley. Marilyn, hi. Welcome to KGO.
Hi, good morning. Guess what? I read the book cover to cover.
Oh, and what did you think?
Well, first of all, Mr. Baker's a really good writer, and he marshals all these enormous amounts of data, and then he resists the urge to snipe. There's no sniping, there's no rudeness, there's no ugliness. he just simply presents these overwhelming facts.
Yeah.
And by the time I guess I jumped the gun a little bit because you haven't gotten to Watergate yet.
No, we're about to.
Ooh, this is the juicy part of the whole story. And he just had my hair standing on end. I always suspected there was more going on in the Watergate affair than was ever revealed until his publication. As far as I know, no one has ever even gotten close to these incredible facts. And so I read it in just about, I don't know, over a weekend. I just plowed
and this is a long book. I mean,
huge.
we should. I've got the paperback in front of me, and it has, including all of the notations in it, and there are a lot. 579 pages.
Yep.
And it's not big type.
Nope. And I just sat down and plowed through it. I couldn't put it down. My son kept saying to me, "Well, are you okay in there?"
Well, what can you do with this information? Do you find it frustrating? Do you find it empowering? What's it feel like to you?
It's nice just to know what really happened, you know.
You feel informed now.
I feel informed and also validated, justified in my suspicions about this doggone government.
And will you continue to vote, or do you think that's a worthwhile, worthless endeavor?
That's funny you should ask me, because I didn't vote in the last go-round. I was just so discouraged and so incredibly disappointed.
Now, was that before you read Family of Secrets?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think it was before. But so he just validates basically my all these suspicions I had through the years.
Well, I appreciate so much you calling in and giving us that. I want to also bring House on here. House is calling from Oakland. House, hi, welcome to KGO. You're on with Russ Baker. Go ahead.
Yes, it's nice to hear you. You have really done your best tonight. I just listened to self for an hour, but this guy, that you got on tonight, it's unsurpassed. That's all I could say, but I think that we are so sheeple and fickle Americans.
Yeah.
That after Obama gets done with immigration, and if it takes him 8 years to do it, we will vote for Jeb Bush.
We'll vote for Jeb Bush?
We will vote for Jeb Bush. That's how fickle and sheeple that we are. And when the truth is looking you right in the face, but you'd rather hear about Tiger Woods or what's going on with OJ. And the truth is looking, the truth, a lie is juicier than the truth. And this book is just unsurpassed. I'm going to get it. And you really have outdone yourself. You need a raise from Mickey Luckoff.
Okay, well, your mouth to his ears. Russ, how do you respond to that? People would rather focus on Tiger Woods, and that no matter what's revealed, they're going to vote for Jeb Bush after Obama.
Well, there is some truth to what he said. It's first of all, I might say that since the book has come out, I've encountered a lot of resistance to it. You were mentioning some of these reviews by these mainstream publications where they seem actually angry at me.
Oh, yeah.
And not able to actually dispute the facts. I have 1,000 footnotes in here, and I'm a serious person and a careful person, and so they can't do it. But they're angry at me, I think, actually for even raising these issues because they threaten their comfortable existence. You see, if we are not able to believe that our country is so perfect and that we're somehow as individuals part of this much better thing than the rest of the world, then we have to start paying attention to the problems and what role we all play in them. And we don't want to do that. And so we lash out. It is true also that it takes some diligence. This woman, I admire her for being able to get through the Family of Secrets in a weekend, and usually it takes much, much longer to get through it. But in any case, I appreciate people who are willing to do too, that a lot of us, we hide from these things, and we think that, after a day at work, we're going to come home and watch a lot of sports and play games and drink and whatever we do to kind of dull the senses. And that's what they want us to do. They want us to not know this information, because if we actually study this material and we become aware, as that woman said, that in itself is empowering.
Right.
You feel better to know what the truth is, and you become more informed. And